Hi guys, today we are going to discuss T.S. Eliot's theory of impersonality. T.S. Eliot's theory of impersonality is a reaction against William Wordsworth's theory that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings and that it takes its origin in emotions recollected from tranquility. Eliot said that past is never dead and it always lives in the present. He first examines the relationship of the writer to his past. He provided this theory in his essay Tradition and Individual Talent. That means a poet must have to follow the tradition, but on the other hand, he also have to pay attention to his individual talent. Eliot said that the function of criticism is to focus not upon the poet but upon the poetry. The history or the biography of the poet doesn't matter. What matters is the poem itself. A poem has a life of its own, and so we have to focus on the poem because the poet have no personality. His personality doesn't appear in the works, and that a true poet should keep himself detached from his work. He should work like a scientist. He should be objective, and the poet's personality submerges into his own works. And this theory often found expression in Roland Barthes' essay Death of the Author. Again, T.S. Eliot says that poetry is not the turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. That means Eliot here rejects romantic emotionalism and said that poem and the poet are two completely different things. A poet is great not because he puts his personality into his work, but because he has a mind in which varied feelings come, and therefore he works creatively and produces a work which have a life of its own. Then he said that the poetic process is not that of recollection of emotions in tranquility, but that of concentration. It is all about creative faculty. Poetry writing is a creative faculty, and it is not something which comes directly from our heart, as William Wordsworth said. Again, Eliot further explains this theory through an example of chemical reaction. When oxygen and sulfur dioxide are mixed in the presence of a filament of platinum, when oxygen and sulfur dioxide were mixed in the presence of platinum, then they form sulfurous acid. But this combination takes place only when platinum is present. Platinum here is the catalyst. And but in the chemical reaction, but in the final result when sulfurous acid was formed, there is no touch of platinum. The mind of the poet is just like the shred of the platinum. Its presence may be necessary for creating the art, but in the piece of poetry, he is totally invisible. He is not present. So the poet have to separate himself from his creation. Just like in sulfurous acid, we don't find any touch of platinum, though it's necessary to form it. Without platinum, we can't form sulfurous acid. But when the chemical reaction is formed, we find the acid, sulfurous acid. There is no touch of platinum. So the poet is just like platinum. He is necessary to create a poem because it was his mind. It is his mind where various thoughts come and therefore creates poetry. But he should be objective. He is just like God. A poet is just like a God who creates everything but is totally invisible. He is not present in the work. And therefore, Eliot provides the example of the catalyst, platinum. He said that like platinum, the poet have to separate himself from his own work. As soon as the work is done, the poet should have to adopt a detached position. He should have to separate himself from these things. And the poet can't reach the impersonality without surrendering himself wholly to the work. The progress of the artist is the continuous extinction of his personality. He have to surrender himself to his work. The poet have to surrender himself to his own work, and a work have a life of its own. Then T.S. Eliot says that the work of art should be regarded as something which have a life of its own. Eliot says that the poet must subordinate himself to the tradition because it is more important than himself and his personality as a poet. And it is just like Keats' idea of negative capability, which he defines as being impersonalization, mysteries, doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. So, a willing submission to things as they are is a prerequisite for poetry, and it is only then that a poet can get into a state of impartial freedom. So, the poet's mind is the place where various ideas and thoughts fused and thus creates poetry. But he have to adopt a objective position, he should keep himself distance from his own work, and this is all evident in all of T.S. Eliot's work, because if we read his poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, we found that T.S. Eliot is not there. Alfred Prufrock is not the mouthpiece of T.S. Eliot. He is not T.S. Eliot. J. Alfred Prufrock is an individual. And in that poem, we don't find any self expression or romanticism or any sort of expression of heart. It is a very critical and scientific poem where Eliot presents the degradation of the postmodern era. Here, he presents the downfall. And he does so in a very objective way, because in that poem we don't find any sort of we can say subjective element. It is totally objective, and the author's personality, his own thoughts and feelings is not there. And another thing that we have to remember while we analyze this theory of impersonality, that T.S. Eliot is a anti-romantic poet. Therefore, he criticizes William Wordsworth's idea, and he considered poetry as a creative faculty which requires hard work and patience. And so the biography or the history of the poet is not important. The thing that matters is the poetry itself. So the poem have its own value, and we have to judge the poem on its own merit, not on the basis of the poet or his biography or his history. So the poet's personality is useless. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the work of art, and which has a life of its own. So T.S. Eliot here expresses the view which was later on, which was actually developed earlier by John Keats in his theory of negative capability. So this is all about today. I hope you all understood. Thank you so much.